All right, we should be back online. Whew. It'll probably keep dropping frames. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Stick with us or don't. Whatever you need to do. Certainly understand if it's not enjoyable or watchable. I wouldn't blame you for bailing out. So, but we find ourselves in the temple. We found 2 secret doors in the northeast corner of the room, and we found 2 secret doors. Yeah, it's dropping frames in the southeast corner of the room. Basically, 2 are in the same wall, the east wall where the altar alcove is. 1 is on each side away from the alcove, and then there's 1 in the north wall, 1 in the south wall. So what would you like to do?
Which one seems the less likely to kill us?
And I'm gonna walk by each, like, stick more or less, just kind of put my head in each door and sniff. I want to see how fresh the air coming out of each door is.
Okay. Roll me a perception. Each of the 4 tunnels is pitch black, unlit. 18. So with an 18 perception, it's stale. It's dank. It's dry, dusty like the rest of this, but maybe more so. Only because this part that you're currently standing in has been open to the outside air, so it's a little fresher. But
And all the doors are like that?
All 4 of them are very much dusty, stale. They smell like they haven't been opened in ages.
Yeah, I tried.
Good idea. And that's what you discover.
Smell anything?
No, it smells like everything else. I was hoping for some fresh air or a breeze. There's nothing.
Well, our dwarf friend already opened one of the passages. Let's go down that one.
I was just going to say we could choose which one to go down, or we could just go down the one that's already open.
Or we could split up.
No, split the party.
How very meta of you, Lulu. Okay.
What meta?
Maybe if it was just 2 tunnels, but there are 4.
I don't think we should split up in any way. It's a dumb thing to do. People die that way. Let's just stick together. Take our time. It's
Good idea.
Okay, so I guess what we could do is number the doors. North wall 1, northeast corner 2, southeast corner 3, south wall 4. Anybody have a preference?
Which one did we open?
All 4. Well, the 2 you didn't open the ones in the south. You found them, but nobody actually opened them.
So we opened the ones in the north. Let's take one of the passageways to the north.
Okay.
fine.
The way, Mr. Wizard?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a 5-foot wide, 10-foot high tunnel, just like any of the other tunnels you've seen inside the temple. It's just very, very dark.
I think it would be wise if my companion Ezra led the way.
Do you want to lead the way?
Yeah, let's go with a marching order.
I have the light on my mace, so I could just as easily lead the way if we need to see.
Well, that does make
Perfect.
sense.
I don't care who leads.
Okay, so Sarah Lynn is first. Who will follow?
Sarah Lynn.
Sarah Lynn.
Your name changes every time.
Does it? I'm sorry.
Solana.
Solana. Sarah Lynn. I wrote that down for
Combined it, Ezra Lynn, Solana.
Yeah.
Now I think it should be Sarah Lee because I want
Yeah,
cake.
because I want cake and treats. So Solana's first with the mace with the cantrip light cast upon it. Who would like to follow Solana? I apologize.
Lulu.
Lulu?
No offense, Lulu. I'd feel more comfortable with Ezra right behind me.
I was gonna take off the black foot if that makes you feel better. But Lulu, you don't look like you weigh much. You can sit on my shoulder if you want.
She'll do that. She'll sit up there and scramble top and just like be all proud and stuff.
Just watch the claws, okay?
Okay. So Solana, Ezra with Lulu,
Ethan will follow Ezra.
Ethan. And that leaves Shokoli and the dwarves. The dwarves are going to hang back and follow. So we'll put Shokoli, and dwarves. Okay.
Ezra will kind of just turn around and look at Chakoli and just kind of make eyes towards the dwarfs. He's kind of like, watch them. They're dangerous.
Yeah. I'm gonna just be like, yeah, I know.
And turn around. Walk
Okay.
on.
All right. So Solana, take us away.
Cilantro.
Cilantro.
I did not say cilantro. I said Solana.
You should make a character named Cilantro.
I'm sorry, you were saying.
What would you like to do? You're going to lead us down the tunnel?
I'm gonna just start trotting on into this possibly death trap tunnel.
Okay, so again, it's 5 foot wide, 10 feet high, so you have no trouble navigating this. You hold your mace out in front of you. The light gives you 15 feet, and then the tunnel turns to the right, which would be east. And you notice there's a little kind of an alcove to the left, and there's rubble and all such in the alcove. Like it looks like a wall that's just has collapsed a little bit. It's not a pile of rubble you could probably go past. It looks like the wall with some rubble against it.
And that's it. It's just a dead end.
Yeah, left is a dead end, right is a passageway.
Well, I guess we go right.
Okay. You turn the corner, and suddenly you see before you more tunnel. It goes about 20 feet and comes to a stone door, much like the stone doors that were spiked open entering into the temple. Stone pins for hinges, carved stone. Very well worked.
Odds are, whatever we find down here, something undead is most likely going to attack us.
Or something that can hold its breath for a really long time.
Or jelly.
That's funny.
Ready your weapons just in case. We're gonna head towards the door. And I'm gonna just towards the door.
Okay.
Just gonna peek at the dwarves out of the corner of my eye while this is happening, just to make sure.
It's a stone door.
Can I check it for traps?
You may make an investigation roll, please.
Gladly and with much gusto.
It's exciting.
Oh God, it's an 8.
It's an 8. So you look and feel there's a a handle to kind of unlatch it. You don't see any traps. There isn't a lock or anything, so there wouldn't be any traps coming from a keyhole.
Okay. I'm gonna just open the door.
Okay, so as you open the door, pouring out of the space behind the door is utter darkness as you open the door into a room that is about 40 feet north to south, which is left to right, and about 30 feet deep, which is west to east, and you're standing in the doorway of a very dark room. In the room, as you shine your mace around, you see 3 stone bed frames and a very small, looks to be fairly rotted away. Looks like maybe it's a writing desk Got some cubbies and things, little shelves built into it.
Drawers, and I'm gonna run over to the writing desk.
Okay. It's very dusty in here. So you see Solana disappear into the room with her light bobbing as she dashes over to the desk. All, again, carved stone, 10-foot high ceilings. The southwest corner, like as you go through the door and look to the right, that southwest corner has like an angle to it versus going all the way to the corner. And you get to the desk, and it is pretty rickety. It looks like it may kind of crumble to dust if you're not careful. It's in pretty bad shape. Yeah, so what are you gonna do?
I'm just kind of gonna like observe it, like sort of like touching the air around it, and be like, I thought, considering this was a dwarven temple, that everything would be stone hewn. I'm really amazed to see that they actually took the time to build wooden furniture, knowing it wouldn't last long. It's just interesting. It makes me wonder if maybe more than dwarves worshipped this Abathar, or if perhaps there was some higher up of a different race. And I'm just going to be muttering these things sort of to myself.
Are there any books over there?
Oh, let me check. I'm going to investigate the desk.
Okay, so you can look through drawers and things if you want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that, and you find old quills that kind of crumble. There's a couple of ink wells with what looks to be maybe some dried ink. You do find 4 kind of like some form of skin dried scroll tubes. And it's kind of stuffed in various places. And in one of the drawers, you pull out a silver dagger with a dark stone of some sort in the pommel. Looks to be reasonably valuable. It's in a sheath, very dusty. The rest of the drawers contain bits and broken, dusty, hard to tell what it is.
I'm going to slip the knife into my boot.
Okay. So you have this silver dagger. It looks like maybe the stone in the pommel is an onyx. The dwarves kind of lean over. Write that down.
Oh, don't worry. I'm taking note. It's just I don't really have any places to hold a dagger at the moment, except for my boot.
The holy symbol of Abathar, says Norbus with all of a sudden, great importance and wisdom. The holy symbol of Abathar is a dagger, a jeweled dagger. So perhaps this is of some historic or religious value, which is kind of why Dazzlin and I are here, looking for such things.
Perhaps that's the weapon that caused all the blood to cover the altar.
Well, I will surely return it to you once we're out of here, but I think it would best be kept on my person at the moment.
Very well. And then you have the 4 scroll tubes.
All right, let's take a look in these scroll tubes, see if perhaps anything has withstood the test of time, maybe something useful.
So you're opening the tubes?
Yes.
So you open the scroll tubes, and they seem to be kind of, they have like a cap on it, very tightly sealed, and you get it off, and you tap, and there are 2 scrolls in the first tube. Parchment appears to be unaffected by time or dust or dryness, and the parchment is blank.
See. What about the next one?
You open that next one up, and it's basically the same thing. Two parchments inside. They slide out again, unaffected by time and climate.
And they're also blank.
And they're blank, yeah.
I'm going to look over her shoulder. Do they look blank to me?
They do. Both sides. Because I assume Solana's, unrolling them and looking both sides.
I'm gonna confirm my suspicion that the next 2 scroll tubes are the same.
You can open those?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, you basically have found 8 very fine parchment sealed in 4 scroll tubes made of some kind of skin or something. Skin-like. Skinish. Skinly?
Could be activated ink by heat, perhaps, or perhaps blood on the paper, given the gruesome nature of these sacrifices. But I don't want to tempt that yet. Or they could just be
always
pieces of
pee on
paper.
it.
What?
You could always pee on it.
Why would I do
You were a
that?
noble there probably 10 years ago. And did a lot of secret things. A lot of stuff on the down low. And this scribe always had lots of blank paper, but it was funny when you peed on it, it would show as orders.
Pee on
Some
it.
sort of alchemy thing. I don't fucking know, but
Not gonna lie, I'm kind of curious how you found that out.
well, this guy was paranoid. I used to have to stand there when he went to the bathroom. It was horrible. Let's just say he died on the floor with a knife in his guts when I wasn't there. I may not have been there on purpose. It was annoying. But MVP.
Another opportunity, possibility, but perhaps when we have better light and less dusty surroundings. I'll just put the scroll tubes in my bag for now. You can make note of that if you would like.
Apparently, the sacrifices, none of them went to waste.
Oh, I'm writing everything down, believe me. Yep, we'll split it evenly. We'll sort it out when we get done. Dalzin just kind of writes it down and nods and smiles. Norbus, you can tell that he's a little concerned, but he's obviously not going to be able to get you to do anything differently. He is but one dwarf. They are walking around, inspecting the room, looking around, kind of, feeling the walls.
I'm curious. And I don't mean for this to come off harshly, but you two are not men of action so much, yes?
What do you mean exactly? Delzin says.
Well, you got us to fight the jellies, so you don't fight much, yes?
No, we're miners, prospectors.
Exactly. So, what's to stop us from killing you and taking everything?
They kind of look at each other. Norbus
Not that
is
we
like,
would. I don't want to make that assumption, but it's just, why do you trust us so readily in something that could be the greatest archaeological find of the century?
Well, we need your help. He kind of gets all embarrassed looking, like you've kind of made him aware of something. He, like called him out. We need help. We can't take care of these jellies and whatever else might be in here. And so,
True.
You said you'd split the stuff with us, and
But as far as you know, we are just random strangers with lots of weapons that showed up at your front door, and you trust us very readily. Is it a cultural thing?
Well, you came to warn us about the dragon. So, that seems pretty nice.
That is what we said. But how do you know?
He just kind of shrugs, looks at you like Norbus is kind of annoyed with the whole thing.
I mean, I assure you that is not our intention at all, but I'm just curious if it is are you trusting by a sort of unspoken law of dwarven culture, or is it more of a personal, uh, for lack of a better term, naivete? Naiveness.
He just looks at you like, "You're here. You have weapons. We do not. We need your help. I don't see we have much of a choice, honestly." Norbus is looking at him like, "Ixnay on the oyster." He's clearly concerned at how much Deslin is talking, or how unguarded Deslin appears to be.
Well, I really appreciate your willingness to even allow us in here, and I give you my word personally that no harm will come to you from us. But I just got to thinking, how can you be so sure that nothing bad's gonna happen?
We can't.
Hmm. I admire your braveness in the face of uncertainty. And I just go back to scouting around the room, looking at everything.
Okay.
As if I didn't just intimate that we might kill them.
Yeah, they're Norbus is like snarking at him and stuff in Dwarvish. You know, as you guys look around.
We're ready to leave now.
Anything else you want to do in this space?
I want to listen to the dwarves talking dwarvish. I
He's.
can't understand it, but I want to listen anyway.
Do you excuse me? Do you speak Dwarvish, Shokoli?
I do not. I just
Okay.
wanted to listen.
Yeah, so you just hear.
Take out my book. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look under the beds.
Okay.
Or remnants of beds.
Yeah, so you can look under the beds. Just go ahead and roll me perception. They're 15. They're a stone bed frame, and there's just dust and debris and crap under them. Nothing. What you'd expect after probably a few hundred years.
You see, now this is what I expected. Frames of bed made of stone, not wooden desk. Interesting. That's it. I'm just gonna keep looking around oh, this is so cool.
Okay. With a 15 perception, you notice in the south wall another secret door.
Ooh. Another door. Right there. Someone like to help me open it?
Ezra, come over and
Yeah,
tell me
you
where-
can. Yeah, you can open them. They're kind of those doors where if you push on them a little bit, something unlatches and it lets it to spring towards you a little bit, and then you can pull it open.
Well, Ezra's really close. I'm gonna lean in. I'm like, you don't think I'm being a bit too uncouth, do you?
Yes.
I appreciate your blunt assessment.
That's awesome.
She'll open the door a little bit.
Okay. Behind the door is another chamber. You can, you hold your mace up, and it's only about 10 feet wide and about 30 feet deep. And again, in the southwest wall, and the room faces due south if you look straight. There's a door on the south wall. The southwest corner is in at an angle. So the room is 10 foot wide where you are. And at the south, all there is room for a 5 foot wide door because of that angle. And you can see there's like a empty stone font that juts out of that southwest wall. And then on the east wall, there's a big stone wardrobe. And there's a couple of suits of red leather armor hanging in that stone wardrobe. It doesn't have doors or anything on it, but you could tell that's what it's there for because it has 2 red suits of armor. It's red leather armor, and it looks rather nasty. Just old, worn. The dwarves rush over and look at it. They're inspecting it in the dim light of your mace.
I follow them.
Okay. You see them, and they're talking in dwarvish, rather excitedly. These are investments. Dalzin says. And he points to a holy symbol that's been somehow carved or, what's the word I'm looking for? Emblazoned into the leather, and it's like a dagger, pommel up, tip down. Looks like it's been jeweled. Looks like the holy symbol of Abathor. And they're in various places on both of the armor suits. Yep, these are priests' vestments, Norbus says. They're not really functional, but they're worth something to my people.
Amazing. But why leather armor? Why so defensive?
Well, it is the god of greed.
I suppose that's true. And I suppose when you try to sacrifice other living creatures, they're going to.
They may fight back.
Yes. I'm going to go look at the font.
Thanks for the follow, Weaseltoe. Very nice. That's another. What do you call that? Advantage dice. There is a doorway in the south end of the room.
I suppose I will go to that door.
Okay.
Dwarves taking the armor.
No, not right now. But they did give it a good thorough look over. They were very careful with it.
Okay.
Let's open the door.
Okay, you can open the door. It's not locked. And it opens into a corridor that goes perpendicular. So it goes east and west. There's a door right across the 5-foot corridor. The door, the direction to the east is actually west, or the direction to the right, as you're facing south, is west. Goes about 10 feet, stops at a wall. The easterly direction, which is left, goes to another kind of a dead end where the wall looks like it's caved in a little bit, and it's full of debris. And then there's that door across the hall from you.
See, this place is very labyrinthian. Reminds me of a story I read when I was younger. A mad wizard created this entire mountainous underground labyrinth, supposedly hiding a great treasure in there.
You could see their eyes light up at the mention of treasure. Norbus is like elbowing Dalzin, like.
Yeah, but the thing was, none of the great things were worth the death that followed the people who went in to find it. Yes. And, well, the story was very childish. It ended with the real treasure was the friendship they made along the way, something along those lines. But what was the treasure? Some sort of gemstone, I think. Who knows? Very long story.
Well, that's really depressing. And then I'm going to I'm gonna wander up and down the left and right hall.
Okay.
Just, like, poking around before.
Yeah, taking a right takes you due west, and it goes to a wall. Taking a left takes you into some rubble. Impassable. It's another wall that looks like it's caved in some.
I just like to look in both the halls, like investigate, see if there's anything interesting.
Yeah, go ahead and roll investigation. Or perception. Okay. With a 19, you notice, you discover that the wall to the west is another secret door.
She's very surprised or she's frozen.
She looks kind of frozen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's frozen.
Yeah. Oh dear. Or she's really committed to this bit.
Right. Yeah, that could be. Yeah. Man, the internet is a little unhappy with us this evening. Perhaps we did not
Oh, here she goes.
tithe properly, and she's gone. Well, hopefully she'll pop back in, so we'll just kind of continue on. Yeah, so you see Shokoli looking very closely at that wall. Hopefully she'll pop back in, and our cameras will reset.
I'm gonna like look over my shoulder at the doors. Is it a custom to make doors so hard to find, or is it just paranoia?
Well, Norbus gets that self-importance air again. Kind of hooks his thumbs in his suspenders. Well, you realize you're in a holy temple or an unholy temple, and they probably didn't want certain areas open to everyone, and so it's not uncommon for dwarves to create secret doors to hide various things, keep people out of areas they shouldn't be in. Dalzin kind of nods.
So is it like that in all sorts of temples of Dwarven culture, or just the unholy ones?
Oh, I think it's probably commonplace. Most dwarven cities holds keeps, temples. See, we're very good at making secret doors, and they're very handy to keep people out of areas they don't belong.
But who are you to decide they don't belong there? And why
Is-
so secretive?
I don't know. Perhaps we should go through and see what's there.
Sorry.
What?
Was that a sneeze? Bless you.
No.
Oh.
That was from Ezra.
Oh, he just a snort.
Oh, it was a name.
Didn't hear what you said.
Didn't catch
It's
it.
celery.
Celery? Oh wait, is that supposed to be my name? Shit.
Cilantro. Yeah. Cilantro.
Solana.
Cilantro. Whatever.
Solana.
That really hit the mark.
No, I thought you said that, and I'm just like, but my name's not Celery.
Problem is, I can't remember the name. I keep forgetting it.
I think that's just on par for your character, though. Like, she just does not care what my name is.
Really?
Aw. That makes me sad.
I'm not paying her. Seriously. Sorry.
Are you alright, Ezra, then? You coughed.
Yeah.
All right. I think what we'll do is we'll take a 5 here real quick, and hopefully Abby will be able to rejoin us on our break, and we'll just kind of do that. So everybody, hang in there, and we'll be back in a few moments.
I'm ready.
All right, y'all, welcome back. Sorry for the technological nonsense tonight. The internet is not being kind to us. Abby has been devoured by the internet where she lives, and my internet, for unexplainable reasons, is uploading very poorly this evening, which is not normally the case. So thank you for sticking with us if you've chosen to do so. And the party is in the bowels of an ancient dwarven temple ruin. And you're facing a secret door to the west. There's a door in the south wall of the tunnel you're in, and rubble behind you, and then the door you came out of on the north wall of this area. What would you all like to do?
Perhaps we should open the door before we open another secret door.
Mm. Might as well. Yeah.
Yes, so, I mean, I feel like we're just going to keep finding nothing but secret doors that lead to more hallways, that lead to secret doors, that lead to more hallways.
So are you saying you'd like to open the door in the south wall of the passageway?
The one that was right across from us when we
Yeah.
came out.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. 100%. So you open that door. It's not locked, and it's opened into a very small chamber. Looks like maybe it's probably about the size of the chamber that was across the hall from it, except at the very south and southwest end, there's a lot of rubble here that looks like maybe the end of the room has collapsed.
Let's take a look inside. What's in the room?
Okay. Anybody wish to make perception to look around? It's, again, it's kind of a big old pile of rubble. It's
I'm
kind of a
gonna
mess.
use my scabbard, just kind of poke at it a bit, just out of boredom.
Yeah. You see a partially buried skeleton of a dwarf, clad in some of those red vestments that you saw hanging in the vestry across the hall. And you see a silver chain around its neck with a holy symbol of Abathor, a little tiny jeweled dagger.
I'll pick it up and look at it, and just kind of like hold it.
Yeah, the two dwarves are like really looking at it. Oh, it says something on the dagger. Turn it over. And Norbus turns it around and he reads it. It says greed is good. It's a holy symbol to Abathor.
Looks like we found our high priest.
Wonder what's behind this. I poke the rubble a bit more.
Yeah, as you dig around, it appears that wall at that end of the room is kind of collapsed into the room, much like you saw in some of those other hallways. Doesn't appear that you could clear it away and there would be anything behind it other than more wall.
Okay.
Anything else in the room?
Doesn't appear to be.
Well, let's look at our new secret door then.
You have the secret door and you have the rubble pile at the other end.
And the rubble pile at the other end sort of looks like it's collapsed, like in the room we were just in.
I'm gonna go poke it.
Okay. Yeah, roll me perception, Ezra.
I'm probably talking to Lulu while I'm at it. Think there's anything you can scrabble through? Poke, 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 poke. Again with my end of my scabbard.
Okay.
Lulu can try.
Lulu, you can roll perception with Ezra if you'd like. To see what you see as Ezra is poking around.
Fancy old 18.
Okay. Ezra, how did you do?
I rolled rolled 11.
Okay, so Ezra, it looks like a pile of rubble to you, but Lulu, you're looking at this, and it looks like as Ezra's poking around, some of the rubble's falling towards you and clearing away, and there's just like more rubble behind it. And some of the rubble at the highest, up near the ceiling, is dropping down. Like, the other piles of rubble look like they're up against a wall. This looks more like it's rubble, like it's a pile of rubble.
Can
And
she climb the rubble?
sure, yeah.
Do we need to roll for that or just climb?
No, you can climb up there. You're pretty agile, and of course, being raised in a subterranean environment, you don't have any trouble navigating. And you can, and there's loose pieces, and some of it falls down, and so forth. But what it looks like to you is a big pile of rubble. The ceiling is intact as you get up there. The walls look to be intact. So it looks like a bunch of rubble is in this hallway.
Okay, can she try digging near the top of the rubble?
Yeah, you can start to loosen things. The two dwarves will climb up there and start to help you. And you make slow progress digging through this rubble. But you're able to start moving stuff away. Norbus barks at Delzin. Go fetch the cart. All right, then. And Delzin scuttles off down the hall to get a cart, presumably, to maybe move some of this rubble out of the way to see if there's anything behind it.
I was just poking around. Do you guys actually want to see if there's anything behind that?
Little curious, Cobalt.
Okay. And she'll start picking up rocks, like fairly sizable ones, and just kind of moving them.
Yeah, it looks to be debris, maybe some pieces of wooden furniture, rock, stone, typical what you'd expect from maybe a collapse, like maybe this part of the tunnel is collapsed. As you start to make some progress, they start to cart some material away. After about an hour, you've moved forward a few feet, and you can see that indeed some of the wall and the ceiling has collapsed. So, while the other rubble piles that looked like dead ends because they're up against a wall, this looks to be more like a tunnel cave-in, like the tunnel probably extends. And it's just going to be a matter of time and work before you're able to dig through. I mean, you don't have any idea how far it goes. It could go a mile and a half back. You don't know. But you're making progress with the 6 of you, the 2 dwarves, and the 4 of you, 5 of you with Shokoli. You're able to make some progress.
When it becomes more apparent that this is definitely a cave-in, Lulu's frill kind of deflates, and she's just isn't quite herself at that point. She's kind of more quiet and somber.
Okay. Yeah, it looks very much like Lulu. Why don't you roll me a nature?
uh, 11.
Yeah, you've seen this before. It looks like the remnants of an avalanche or a cave-in for sure. As you make your way back, you notice the ceiling, nothing's caving in any further. It's just damage that was caused by, you would guess maybe like an earthquake or something, and things shifted and some rubble dropped and filled the tunnel. It doesn't look like it's going to cave in on you, or it's unstable. The dwarves are up there inspecting it with picks and poking and things, and you can see that they are clearly in their element as they excavate, and with your help. They work through about 10 to 15 feet of this before Delzin calls out, I can see! They're coming through to a doorway! Oh, let me get out of the way. Let me see. And Norbus kind of pulls him down, and he falls down a little bit, and he uses a pickaxe, and oh, yep, sure enough, there's a stone door here.
Lulu's going to return to Ezra's shoulder.
Okay.
I'll just opera up.
Yeah, it's been a few hours of digging and pulling material out and dumping it in. They keep dumping the contents of this hallway in the room where the dwarf skeleton was, that you took the holy symbol from. Not burying the skeleton, because obviously they're going to come back and investigate that. But after a few hours of work, they finally clear away enough room that the door could be opened. So they kind of look to you guys. Well, what do you think? Should we go through here and see what's behind it?
Did all the work to uncover it. We might as well go through.
Yeah, might as well. I'll scramble through if I got.
Okay. So Norbus pulls the door open, stands in the doorway, another dark chamber. This one looks kind of octagonal. It's about 25 feet across and across. There's an alcove in the south wall that looks like some rubble. Surprise, rubble. And there's an alcove in the north wall that holds a statue of a dwarf with horns, which stares evilly and greedily at a glowing green gem in its hands. And there's also, across the room, a chest against the wall. Again, it's about a 25-foot across octagonal space. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna lean against the wall and look bored again. It doesn't name chambers.
Okay, so you and Lulu are... Did you go into the room to lean against the wall?
I'm just right inside the doorway, like I'm keeping locked.
Okay. Very good. Hey, kitty. What else? Anybody else want to do anything?
I'm gonna ask one of the dwarves who's the horned dwarf in the statue.
They look at each other like... Could be an image of Abathor. I don't really know. I don't like it, though.
I guess I would probably just be silently following Ezra and Lulu.
Okay, well, they're leaning against a wall.
Said there was a chest in the room?
There's a chest against the east wall all the way across from the door.
Lulu's going to pull her spear out and hop to the floor and tentatively approach the chest.
With her spear out?
Yep.
Okay. It's a small wooden chest. It has like iron banding around it. It does have a what looks to be like a lock on the front that you'd have to, possibly unlock to open.
She'll poke at it a couple times, the box itself.
The chest?
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing happens?
Okay. Hoping not a mimic then. We hope. Let's see. I don't know if Lily would have the equipment to unlock it. Let's see.
Do you need help?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna come over and take out my pack of thieves' tools and start picking the lock.
Okay.
Lulu poke, so probably not mimic, but probably careful.
Okay, so roll me a dexterity roll with your bonus, like a sleight of hand.
Mm-hmm. 16.
Okay. So you start to get your thieves' tools in there, and 2 needles shoot out at you. And I need you to make a DC 15 con save.
Oh boy.
You take 2 points of piercing damage. And 7 points of poison damage as you feel the burn of some ichor that's stuck to the needles burn into your body. Very hot, searing. If you've ever been bitten.
Ezra will run and grab you by your back of your collar and kind of drag you out like it would
What was your con save?
19.
Okay, so you're not poisoned, but you did take poison damage and piercing damage.
Is the lock still locked?
What was the result of your dex? I'm getting there. Your dex roll.
Dex roll was an 18.
Okay, so you managed to unlock the chest.
Ow.
And disarm the trap.
Lulu said be careful.
I thought I was being careful, Lulu.
No.
Hold on a minute.
Ethan's going to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. What's
And
the
I will-
radius on that, Ethan?
The radius,
Isn't that a 30-foot radius or something?
it is. It's 30 feet.
Okay. So, anyone who has anything on them that would be visible, you need to tell us if it's radiating magical energy. If anyone has any magical items that would be visible. Once, twice, 3 times, nobody?
Not that I know of.
The chest is unlocked and closed and does not glow. The statue in the north alcove glows brightly with evocation magic. So you would recognize that color, texture of wave off of that, Ethan, as evocation magic.
The entire statue?
Yes.
How about the gem that he's looking at?
The magic's coming off of that whole statue, so
Whole statue.
yeah.
Okay.
Roll me an Arcana check, sir.
Arcana check.
Did you make your portent rolls? Oh, you already used them, didn't you? Because it
I
hasn't been
used
another
one of
day.
them.
Yeah, it hasn't been another
I
day.
used one of them. I've got another one.
Yeah.
I rolled a 20.
Okay. Your sense, looking at the statue with evocation magic, is that something to do with that statue is magical. But you're in, an evil temple. It looks to be holding a gem. And your sense is that that's probably a ward of some kind or something. If you try to remove the statue or maybe the gem, something to do, some evocation magic is going to fire off. So you have to kind of think about what spells are in that school of magic, because something from that school of magic is going to happen if something is done with that statue.
Don't touch the statue.
The dwarves look at you and kind of cock their heads. Why do you say that?
I detect magic. I think there may be a trap on it. Okay.
Makes sense. Okay. What about that chest there?
Well, it'll stab you if you try to open it.
I think our death cleric-y friend fixed that, so that seems safe to open.
Lulu's going to use her spear and pry it in the where the lid opens to the box.
Yeah.
Leverage it. Yeah, you know what I mean. And
Okay.
try to open it that way.
Give me a strength roll, Lulu.
Oh boy.
So you see Lulu kind of fix her spear tip into the seam at the front near the lock.
2.
Okay. Yeah, and she heaves a mighty and it kind of lifts a little bit and doesn't quite go. The spear does not flex for anyone paying close attention.
I will go assist her.
Okay. So you're able to lift the lid. It kind of creaks. It's covered in dust. Obviously, it's been here quite some time. And the chest, there's this glowing light that comes out of the chest for Ethan. You see enchantment magic emanating from somewhere inside the chest.
There's something in the chest that's magical.
Lulu peeks in just ever so slightly over the ridge
Suddenly, as you peek in, you see a very brilliant, decent-sized cut. Looks like glass, but it's incredibly sparkly. Lulu, roll me nature.
Sparkles. Oh.
Sparkly glass.
12.
Okay. You know that that's probably a diamond.
Oh, big sparkly.
It's cut already. It's already been cut and shaped, faceted.
That's not radiating the magic, I assume.
It is not. You also see a small pile of silverish pile of like a mineral or a metal. There is a vial with a pink solution in it, rather viscous and syrupy looking, that is emanating magic.
It's Shan's soul.
What's that?
It's Shan's soul, the pink stuff.
You recognize that right away, Lulu. It's a healing potion.
Oh.
From your alchemical, you're familiar with that. It looks like something that, a Dabra would concoct. And there's also a beautiful dagger laying on a piece of velvet that's emanating enchantment magic. There's a sapphire set. You know how a dagger has the blade and then there's a cross piece and then the pommel? There's a beautiful sapphire set in that cross piece right at the pommel. And that thing looks sharp, and it looks... Solana, give me intelligence. I'm assuming everybody's kind of... Oh, I know the dwarves are. Leaning over the...
Come on, stupid. Intelligence. That'd be a 19.
Okay. You're confident that this blade is of elven design and make. It's beautifully crafted. It's more slender than what you might see by a human or dwarven made. Has a beautiful scabbard beside it. And again, there's that sapphire. You would guess that this thing might be worth 75 gold. Pretty damn nice blade. And like I said, Ethan, there's enchantment magic emanating from it.
I'm gonna take it and just turn it over in my hand and sort of flick it through my fingers with an expertise that you wouldn't expect of somebody who's an anthropologist.
Yeah.
And put it in my boot.
Lulu, sorry.
Go ahead.
Lulu stares at the blade, and then looks to Solana's face. Crap. I was gonna say. Maybe nice gift for Bri, Cilantro?
Yes. For Bri.
Cilantro.
I'm going to say to Solana in Infernal, be careful. That weapon radiates enchantment magic.
I'm gonna say back in Jarvis's voice, that's the idea.
So you both hear this guttural, awful sounding exchange between Solana, whose voice has changed and deepened, and Ethan, who's speaking uncharacteristically guttural and, like, think of the language of Mordor in Lord of the Rings, right? Yeah, it's awful sounding.
I'm gonna say back to her, you've possessed this poor woman.
You're only half right, buddy. You're only half right.
Nice. Norbus reaches into the chest and picks up a little bit of that metallic mineral powder dust stuff and kind of rubs it between his fingers and looks at it. Puts his tongue on it. Ah! Platinum. And he looks at the pile. I'd say 10, 12 platinum pieces worth down at the exchange. Very,
Oh.
very nice. So you have a 50 gold piece diamond. You have a potion of healing. You have a beautiful blade. It's the second dagger you found. I bet this one, Ethan has said, emanates enchantment magic. Ethan, do you have Identify?
I do.
Okay. You could, I believe that's able to be cast ritually if you want to spend 10 minutes and not burn a spell slot.
Yeah, I can. I'll do that.
Okay. So yeah,
I'll tell them I'm gonna cast a spell. I need 10 minutes.
okay. So what does it look like when you ritual cast Identify?
So he would I would need to see the dagger. So I would say to my new friend Jarvis, let me hold the dagger. I'll find out what it is.
Gladly.
So he'll hold the dagger, and he'll concentrate on it. Hold it in one hand. He'll say words of magic, looking at it intently. The magic sort of coming all over him. He's caught up in his magic, and as he casts the spell and mutters the arcane words, and it takes a long time because he's doing this ritually without a spell, and he's just absorbed by the magic. He's casting his Identify spell.
What is your arcane focus that you use, Ethan? Or do you use one?
He doesn't use a focus.
Yeah.
He doesn't use a focus.
Okay,
He
very good.
uses components.
Yeah, so you all just kind of hang around. The dwarves are inspecting the rubble in the south wall, avoiding the statue entirely. They don't really find anything. They've looked along all the walls. They don't find anything as far as secret doors. And about 10 minutes passes, and Ethan, you realize that this dagger has an enchantment placed upon it that would grant the user the bonus of +1 to attack and damage.
Okay. All right.
You muted, Kayla. Did you say something?
Hmm?
Oh, I thought Kayla said
I was talking to myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Lulu's staring in the box and looks at the group and looks to the dwarves and looks back in the box. Lulu has sparkle rock, please.
Norbus kind of turns his head. What's that, little one?
I'm not too quiet.
Didn't understand what you said.
Oh, okay. Lulu has sparkle rock, please. Lulu likes sparkles.
Kind of looks at you guys. I mean, you're talking to miners, prospectors. Well, what should we do?
I mean, Lulu's just staring at the diamond. That's all she wants right now.
Perhaps we should continue our investigation and worry about those things later.
You can keep everything collectively in my backpack if you want. And then I'll dump it out when we're done. And we can divvy everything up fairly.
What can Lulu have, though?
Seems fine.
I'm going to hand the weapon back to Solana and say an infernal. I did tell her what it is.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a +1 dagger. Fine elven make. Probably worth 75 gold. It's obviously a nice weapon. The dwarves have looked and don't seem to find anything else in the room. Again, they have steered clear of that statue. What would you all like to do?
I mean, can Lulu take the diamond? Is that right?
Yeah, as Solana's putting everything in her backpack, as she said she would do, she slowly slides Lulu the diamond.
She snatches it and puts it in her bag.
Make a sleight of hand check for me on that.
Gladly. 19.
Okay. All right. So what would y'all like to do?
I say we go back to the other end of the hall and see what that secret door is about.
Sure.
Okay. So you make your way out and you go to the secret door. You can get that open. And it goes into a passageway that goes left and right, which to the right is north, to the left is south. After about 15 feet, the north passage angles to the left, kind of northwest. After about 15 feet, the south passage looks to be collapsed in with more rubble.
Certainly
Question
ends
is,
in a
do we
dead
take the
end.
time to dig that out too?
Yeah.
I'll let Lulu have a peek at the top. You might be able to tell the difference between what we found before and what difference is.
Okay.
And
So Lulu,
Lulu-
as you climb up there, it looks like it's maybe not as deep a section of rubble, and you can see kind of through it near the top, and it looks like maybe the tunnel continues on. Bless you.
Oh, you guys heard that?
Yeah.
That was my wife.
Nice.
Sorry, will I say that again?
So if you look through the rubble, you can see like up at the ceiling that it looks like it's a pile of rubble, but the tunnel extends beyond it. It's very dark.
Okay. How so there's like a little spot that you can see through?
Yeah.
How big is that area? Like that little hole?
Just you're looking through gaps in the rock and the debris
Oh.
and stuff. You're not going to climb through that without moving it out of the way.
Okay. Found another secret tunnel.
Suppose we should try to get to it? Or at least dig up enough so that Lulu can peek better in.
So you guys going to start removing debris?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
It's the worst that can happen.
It'll be fine.
Okay. Dowson shrieks, "Ah, it's another one of those things!" And he jumps back as you see a pseudopod swing out and narrowly miss him, as it looks like he has unearthed an ochre jelly, much like what you fought in the temple area. Let's roll initiative.
Yay! Murder!
The two dwarves like freak out and dash.
Ethan got an
Luke is
18.
13.
So Ethan has an 18.
Yeah.
Okay. Ezra?
13.
Solana?
11.
Is that an 11?
Yeah, sorry. 11.
And Lulu?
13.
And then I'll roll for Shukoli.
Chocolate. Broccoli.
Okay, not great.
Broccoli and cilantro.
Ethan, you are first. You're in a pretty tight, confined. You're in a 5-foot tunnel, and this thing is laying in the pile of debris at the end of the tunnel. You've gotten enough debris removed that you can see that the pile. There's a tunnel beyond it. It's fairly dark. There's shadows cast by the mace, the lit mace. There's debris in the hallway, so you're kind of working in difficult terrain. So your movement is half because of all the debris and stuff that's around. What would you like to do for your action?
How far is this thing away?
I mean, you guys are all standing right at this pile of debris, so we're basically kind of in melee by, I don't know how you want to do it, by marching order maybe, because we can't all be.
Right.
We'll just say Solana's in front, Ezra and Lulu, then Ethan.
so I don't really have a clear shot at it.
Yeah, I mean, you could step forward through their space, but you'd have to back up because you can't end your turn in someone else's space.
Right. I think what I'm gonna do. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hold my action, and I'm gonna hold my action until I can get a clear shot
Okay.
on it, and then if I can get a clear shot, I'm gonna cast a spell at it.
Fair enough. Next in the initiative order is Ezra and Lulu, whoever would like to go first amongst you.
Do you want to go by who has higher dexterity, or how do you want to do?
You guys can decide.
You go ahead, Lulu.
Okay. And how far is the jelly from where Lulu and Ezra are at?
You're right there, melee.
Oh, okay. Then Lulu will cast poison spray at the jelly.
Okay.
Breathe it from her mouth.
It comes from her mouth, you say?
Yeah, like kind of like dragon breath type thing.
Yep.
Con save of 12.
Okay. Failed.
Okay, so it takes 4 points damage.
Okay. So you see this spittle kind of come out of Lulu's mouth, and it splashes all over, and the thing kind of sizzles and writhes as the poison spray takes effect. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Ezra, you're up. You're right there with Solana, right there in melee.
I'm gonna take my sword and flat side down, just kind of whap it.
Okay.
Not try to cut it, just
Try to use it like a club. Okay, go ahead. Roll your attack.
yeah. That is a 16.
16. Okay. I'm gonna, instead of the D8 edged, because it's a longsword, right, or a great sword, 2d12, whatever it is. I'm gonna say roll d6 bludgeoning and add your strength.
6 points of damage.
Okay. Very good. So you flap this thing, and it jiggles and slithers around. Clearly you've affected it much more effectively than your blade did before. Next is Solana.
I'm gonna try to cast inflict wounds, and that's gonna be a 17.
Okay, that hits.
Okay, so
Is this necrotic?
yeah, so basically she's gonna stick out her hand and say something in infernal, and the hand that has the cut on it, like this black ichor, is gonna shoot out into the jelly
Oh yeah.
for 20 damage.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you definitely started to rot away a section. It just sizzles and the thing like hisses, and I don't know if ochre jellies make a sound, but if it did, it would be a very unhappy sound. This big puddle of goo is in your way, and it's sizzling and bubbling, and it tries to lash out at you and attack you with like a pseudopod. I'm just going to go highs and lows. 1 to 3 on a d6 is Solana. 4 to 6 is Ezra. Because this thing has an intelligence of 2, so it's not really going to understand who did damage to it. So it takes a swing at Solana and rolls a natural 1 and just knocks some rock and debris. Apparently this attack you made on it just disoriented it, and it just kind of flails. And Shokoli is kind of in the back trying to see what's going on, and will hold their action. So we're back to Ethan. Go to tunnel combat.
Yeah. Could I even get past the rest?
Yeah,
of
you
them
can
if
you
I
can move
wanted
up. You can ask them, "Excuse me, pardon me," coming through. You have move, bonus action, and action. So
I
if you
think
wanted
I'm,
to step forward and cast a spell and step back, that would certainly be within your 30 movement, or
would it,
15 movement within difficult terrain.
I think that's what I'll do. I'll step forward, and I'm going to cast Ray of Frost, and then when I'm done with that,
Okay.
I'll use the rest of my
Yeah,
movement to step
good.
back to where I was.
That can happen.
And I'm gonna use my second insight roll or my second portent roll because I saw this happening, and I know exactly where this guy's going to be moving. So I rolled a 12 plus 5 is 17.
Okay. Yeah, so your Ray of Frost hits exactly where you knew it would. You even can recall that like 2/3 of this thing has been like rotted and sizzled away. So you'd know right where to place your Ray of Frost, and it finds purchase on the remaining pile of kind of yellowish green, snotty looking gel. Roll some damage for me, sir.
He takes 5 cold damage, and his movement is also reduced by 10 feet until
Okay.
the start of my next turn.
Yeah, a bunch of this thing like just crystallizes and freezes. And there's just this little pseudopod like kind of flailing around. Ezra or Lulu. Lulu, I guess, you are next.
Okay. Lulu will do more poison spray.
Go ahead.
Well, did it do its con save?
Okay. Gee whiz. No, did not.
Okay. Two points of damage.
Okay. So this thing just kind of what's left of it being able to move just kind of goes limp. It starts to drain down through the debris and slowly vanish down into the rubble. As your group has dispatched a third ochre jelly.
Jelly killers.
All right.
Not the most intimidating adventuring group name, but
There's on a jelly, we can't them all.
All right.
it doesn't have a spine, we can kill it.
I think what we'll do is we will, because I am still dropping frames like a madman, so I'm guessing this stream, I'm going to look at it later, but I'm guessing this thing isn't even going to be worth making a VOD out of it. But why don't we go ahead and call it here, and we'll hit pause. And when we pick up, you'll be in this tunnel. You've got that ochre jelly soaked rubble in front of you. You have the tunnel that goes around the other direction. And you're working your way, what feels like you're working your way kind of westward according to the dwarves. They have a very good sense of direction into the ground. So how does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, so we'll just go ahead and do a quick, fast wrap on this thing, and I'll go ahead and start a raid. But I'd like to thank those of you. I see we still have some viewers. I'd like to thank everybody for hanging out, even though we had some really icky technological issues tonight. Obviously, I'm gonna have to figure out what the heck's going on with my upload speed on the interwebs before the next time I try to stream. So if it's not one thing, excuse me, lately it's another. So thanks for hanging out, and we will wrap it here, and we'll see you all with this game. Hopefully next Wednesday with everybody off of injured reserve and interneting well and so forth. So thanks everybody for playing, and thanks for hanging around. And I'm going to go ahead and fire off a raid. Let's see who's streaming. Let's send it over to With a Brick. See how she's doing. Her name is Ray, and she's awesome. So where did my raid go? Something went wrong. Okay, I'm not even going to mess with the raid because that's not working either. F you, Scott. The internet doesn't like you today. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to end the stream, and you all have a great rest of your week.